Alright, so I'll be talking about the uniqueness and particularity of Jesus Christ in response to religious pluralism. My name is Michael Smith, and I'm uploading this video for PHI 610. So, how do we distinguish Jesus from other gods and also from other religions in the context of a pluralistic society? I think, first of all, in order to look at this properly, you have to look at the issue from the lens of the Bible. And so you have to take a look at the Bible in order to see what Jesus said about himself and what Jesus said about morality, values, and ethics as well. And so perhaps one of the most glaring verses that one of the most controversial quotes or claims of Jesus in the New Testament comes from John 14, verse 6, which says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me," or except through me, depending on the translation. I find it interesting that in the Aramaic Bible, in plain English, which is a version found on BibleHub.com, that it says, "I am the living God, the way and the truth and the life. No man comes to my Father but by me alone." Now, looking at this from the context of Jesus' day, the Jewish people were looking for a Messiah. They were looking for God to save them from the oppressive Roman rule. And so to say that Jesus somehow, thought he was just an ordinary guy in the context of his claims is pretty is very irresponsible and doesn't really make sense. So again, Jesus was promising that he was the fulfillment of these things, as well as the Old Testament prophecies. One might say that the Old Testament prophecies were vague and generic, but there are very specific details about, for instance, in Psalm 22, talking about piercing the hands and the feet. And at that time in history, crucifixion was not in existence. So that's another very interesting point to note. So how does this line up with the pluralism we see today? Pluralism basically says that there's a variety of aspects to pluralism and different flavors per se, but one of them is that we can take different things from different people in history and apply it to our own lives. The problem with this is that it doesn't make an objective truth position. It doesn't take an objective truth position. And Jesus made some very big claims when it comes to truth and as well as authority. So in Christ, basically what we have is not some ethereal, spiritual, make it whatever you want it to be person. We have a real historical person who no one basically disputes that Jesus actually existed. And the things that were written down about him were obviously very profound, and they are consistent as well, not only between the Gospels, but also throughout historical documents. The other thing to note here is that Jesus also, according to the scriptures, again, according to the biblical view, had authority over nature. Now, this basically distinguishes him from other prophets, per se, in other religions, such as Buddhism, or Muhammad in the Islamic faith, because essentially what you have is Jesus, again, doing miracles, and also, calming the storm in the sea, and casting out demons. So he is not only asserting authority over creation, but he's also asserting authority over the spiritual realm as well. So that is unique to Jesus Christ, because in the other religions claim that there is either a monotheistic God, or there are many gods, or that nature is God, which is basically pantheism. So Jesus, on the other hand, he stands alone in regards to these various categories, because basically he's not saying that he is, first of all, he's saying he is God. Second of all, he's saying that he is the only way to God, that he and the Father are one. And so there is a monotheistic God. There are not many gods or many manifestations of God. He's it. So he's saying that he is the manifestation of God in the flesh. He doesn't leave room for the possibility of other people coming. He says that there will be many others who come claiming to be him, but basically don't believe those people. He will come in the end days, on Judgment Day, in power, and great power and authority. So what does this tell us? Basically, Jesus was unique because he claimed to be God. He became a human. He was no doubt a human in the flesh, born of a virgin, which is the Christian belief, and did not sin. So that makes him also stand apart from people such as Buddha, because Buddha was searching for a higher way and basically continuing to work towards that. And Muhammad, on the other hand, he was violent in his dealings with basically conquering and spreading his way that he believed was right, on the revelation that he believed he had. But Jesus, on the other hand, was our example. He was not just trying to attain the higher good, but he claimed to be the higher good. He claimed to be the manifestation of God and his glory, his goodness, and not just an example, but the way. And also our flesh, he said that eat of my flesh and drink of my blood. So not just an example, but also substance and sustainment for life itself, which is a pretty unique claim among the religions. And I'll just end with this verse that I think is very applicable. And it says that the Son is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. And that comes from Colossians 1:15. And so, again, Paul here is claiming that he is God's image. He's God incarnate, and he is over creation. He's not just in creation or through it, but he is in authority over it, and also part of God's new creation. In other words, making people new in their spiritual existence. So, again, this is in regards to the uniqueness of Christ in a pluralistic society. This was Michael Smith, and I'm signing off.